I'm a newbie at fishing. I've been fishing now for 3 years. Got suckered in by a friend of mine. I was going trout fishing. He talked me into going out for a steelhead. No more trout. I'm dedicated to steelhead and salmon now.
I used to commercial fish in Alaska when I was still in high school and did it off and on for years. And I've eaten all the salmon up there, including the sockeye, and the spring Chinook salmon in the Columbia River has so much more oil to it. It's probably the best tasting salmon in the world, actually.
3 years fishing. Last year I only caught 11. This year I caught 5 already, so this is already starting to be a real good year for me. My goal for me is 20, and I know guys that catch 80 to 100 fish every year on this Columbia River. They're professionals, they know what they're doing, they have fun.
You can't overcook it because it's so oily, and it's very, very good, and the commercial fishermen sell it to the restaurants and they buy it up like crazy, and you can't really find it in the grocery stores. You can find Alaskan Copper River salmon, things like that, but not the Columbia River Spring Chinook salmon.
What keeps me doing it? Catching fish.
Well, every year, particularly here, we have a run of fall Chinook salmon that come back to this river from the ocean. Fish are generally anywhere from 4 to 6 years old when they return to the hatchery. The fish that are raised here, they have a window, a period in time when they acclimate to the water that they're in. It's usually when they smolt, which is usually a 4-week window that they acclimate to this particular river system. And that's how they just imprint that into their brain, and then they can find their way back to this river every, when they come back. So here you can see the marking process going on. And if you come over here, you can see the tanks that have running water going through them. And the little salmon are put into here. And the crew will actually hand dip fish out, and they'll put them in here in this trough that has a solution we call MS-222. And it anesthetizes the fish, puts them asleep so they can be handled. And you can see the people clipping the little fins off, and they drop them down a chute right there that actually has a counter on them. It'll actually count each individual fish as it goes down. From there it goes out into a pipe, and there's a big long pipe that runs all the way down and out to that big long pond down there. So all 3 million fish will be clipped and out into that pond to be raised until they're released. They started raising salmon in hatcheries mostly because of habitat destruction from dams, over logging, misuse of the land, just from development. Without the hatcheries, the populations would have plummeted, and there would be not a fishable population of fish for people to fish for, from commercial fishing to tribal harvest to sport fishing.
We're here in Vancouver, Washington at Port Cove Ramp checking the spring Chinook anglers. Yeah, so when the anglers actually pull out, I'll walk up and ask them how they did and what time they started at, and if they have any catch. And also, we kind of always ask, in this area here, we have a couple different sections, so I'll ask them what river section they were fishing in, so we keep track of what was going on in each section, break it down that way. If they have catch, then we'll end up pulling some scales off of the fish, taking genetics, DNA, and also we'll measure the fish, and it's all, and we're looking for pit tags here these last few years, and coat wire tags also. They're out there. There's the marks. Got yourself a winner here. Oh, really? Yeah. So right now I'm going to cut right behind the eye here. There's a coat wire tag in the snout. It's a pretty good relationship with the majority of the fishermen, and I fish too and hunt and all that, so it's I got a pretty good working relationship with the majority of the guys that we talk to, and it's pretty fun, you know, as far as, you know, you meet some nice folks, you know, that really like to tell some stories and actually, you know, let you look at their fish and whatnot.
When we're fishing in the Vancouver area, anything usually above Longview, we fish at night, and that would begin just at the break of dark until the break of daylight in the morning. And we have an area in which we usually fish as a group of people. We've prepared the bottom and cleaned it, and we'll make drift after drift after drift all night long until the sun comes up, and then we'll deliver our fish to market. The preponderance of our catch is salmon. In past years we've also caught sturgeon.
So we are hung up on something.
The Columbia River, like most salmon fisheries or any fishery in particular, are highly regulated, and the Columbia River fisheries are regulated based upon ESA impacts, allowable harvest of protected stocks. So in terms of the salmon, we're very fortunate to this fall, the department's projected the largest run since dam construction. It's pretty exciting. It's a lifetime event for anybody involved in salmon. So hopefully, you know, as we work forward with management plans to share the resource, we can all look to the abundance that has showed itself over the last couple of years.
We live in a beautiful area, and we have a lot of really beautiful streams, and I think all of us have grown up understanding that mountain streams should be gravel and cobble and cascading water and tree-lined banks, and they're very pleasing to the eye. Unfortunately, we've all grown up seeing those images, not understanding what those streams probably looked like before a lot of the impacts were placed on them, I suppose. So even though we look at a stream and say, well, that looks pretty good, I don't think that we should change it, it may not look as good from a fish's perspective. We don't have the same number of large, deep pools. We don't have sorted gravels for spawning, don't have as much cover for rearing. The entire landscape has changed. And so while it looks just fine, it still needs some help to get back to where it could be to support robust salmon and steelhead populations.
The Cowlitz Indian tribe has an active, aggressive natural resource restoration program that began 12 years ago. And we've always lived in close concert with these streams and with the fish. And over time, when we were basically taken off the land, we saw the need to kind of come back and take care of the fish, but with that ability, it just hasn't been there. And the tribe has been without resources for 150 years, but in 2002 we were restored as a tribe, and so we took it on as our responsibility to establish a natural resource program, and that was one of the very first programs we started. And Taylor Aalvik is our natural resource director, and he works locally with all of the agencies to bring about change in salmon habitat, and he's established a great reputation in working with those agencies, and we're very proud of that relationship, that cooperative spirit.
So what we have here is a backwater pool that was part of the restoration project we did here. And currently we have some steelhead or salmon that are utilizing this little pool. They will be here for some time to begin their life, and then as they get older, they will begin their transformation process to head out to the ocean for the rest of their lives. So we have some little salmon and steelhead utilizing this little backwater.
I think over the last century or so, we've tried really hard to eliminate salmon from the landscape, and it may not be so much intention, but in practice. We've logged riparian forests, cleared streams, we've paved over and provided barriers for their passage, and they still manage to come back every year, and in smaller numbers than they used to, but they still come back, and so now it's time to start rebuilding those populations, restoring access to their habitats, and making those habitats more like what they have evolved to thrive in.
My name is Ron Roller. I work for Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. I work on the Columbia River, and my position is Columbia River Policy Coordinator, which is a fancy name for I am the harvest manager for the Columbia River. In the old days, people did just go out and fish, but with all the different pressures now, it puts the fish in a more precarious position. In fact, some of these, like I said, some of these fish have been listed by the federal government as endangered or threatened, and so that puts an extra layer of protection on those fish, and even if the fish are not listed, that layer of protection goes onto them also. Well, right now in the main stem Columbia, we'll have some commercial fisheries, we'll have recreational fisheries, the tribes are fishing. There is a lot of people that are involved in fishing. I mean, it's in the peak of that fishery in the lower Columbia River, it's unbelievable the amount of boats and number of people out there in a given day fishing. And that's just even on a weekday. People talk about Copper River sockeye, etc., but it's hard to beat a Columbia River spring Chinook, especially on upriver fish, because they've got so far to go. They have a lot of body fat and a very prime fish. We always have a presence out on the water. To estimate catches, we have people that are out at boat ramps, sampling people who come in. We have people walking river bars talking to fishermen who are out fishing. The other presence out there is patrol. There's the guy fishing next to you could be one of our patrol officers. They're out there sometimes in marked boats, sometimes in unmarked boats, sometimes just sitting alongside with binoculars or spotting scopes watching. So there is most definitely a presence out there.
Hello, Sheriff's Office. How are you guys? My name is Todd Baker. I work for the Clark County Sheriff's Office in the Marine Patrol Unit. Been with the department for 25 years now, and been with the River Patrol or Marine Patrol since 1997. Is there another person in there? Is there 3 people?
2.
I see 3 fishing poles. How come?
Oh.
Is that bad?
I don't know. I thought.
What's the rule? What is the rule? 1 fishing pole per person?
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing here?
Oh,
So today we're doing a joint patrol with Fish and Wildlife. They've reopened salmon fishing here on the Columbia for another month. And so we're out. Generally the weather's not all that great, so it's cloudy and a little cooler, so the main boats out here are fishermen, salmon fishing. So we're doing a little emphasis on salmon fishing. Let's check this one here.
That's
You got eggs?
Egg, yeah. Fake egg?
Eggs with, fake eggs.
Yeah, that's a salmon egg.
You got a barbed hook on that one.
My name is Tom Motes. I'm an officer, a Fish and Wildlife police officer with the Department of Fish and Wildlife. And our primary goal is to protect the natural resource and the public we serve. So today I'm out, I was invited out by the Clark County Sheriff's Marine Unit. Deputy Todd Baker
So he says he's fishing for salmon steelhead, but he's fishing like a sturgeon setup.
Yeah, his gear isn't a traditional salmon gear.
He's got no quick fish, you know, so.
I mean, he's drowning a worm. Yeah. He did have something on there. I don't know what it was.
It was a shaker. I'm sure it was a sturgeon.
It's probably a sturgeon, yeah. But, see, that's where the dilemma is in this circumstance. Right. He didn't say he was fishing for sturgeon, which are barbless hook requirements as well.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, obviously he's not set up to catch a salmon, so honestly, in my mind, punishing this guy for a barbed hook violation because of it, I don't know. I mean, you could go either way, but he's obviously being sneaky about the extra line.
We'll just go with all of it. Okay, 1 pole per person. If you're gonna fish, make sure you crimp down the barb.
First time learning.
Here's all your information.
Everybody make mistake. It's not fun to go funny with ticket.
Yeah, well, that's what we do out here. That's our job, to enforce the rules.
The spring Chinook salmon is the basic gold of the Pacific Northwest. It's a very highly prized fish. It tastes like no other. It's incredibly excellent table fare. Well, it's the ultimate